We then got on the Brown line toward the Loop and transferred at Belmont to the Red line, and then got off at Gorefield, which is where I get off of the University of Chicago. On the train ride, I didn't see any helicopters, but I saw police cars and they were heading toward downtown. I hope Marcus is safe because I know that this doesn't involve him, but helicopters I know do. He probably is because he is probably in the hospital with his mother. It is only noon. Graduation for you doesn't begin until 5. What do you want to do? David asked. I need to tell you two something, I answered. So that is what you want to do? David asked. Yes, I answered. What is up? Peter asked. Marcus's mom is not doing well, I said. Is that why she has a cane? Peter asked. Yes, right after she gave birth to George, she tumbled off the bed and she cracked her spinal cord, and that has given her mobility issues ever since, I answered. Oh, that's too bad, said Peter. We think we found a cure, but we don't have access to it yet, I said. I left it at that. Was that why he was not at his graduation? David asked. Yes, I answered. Is he, at a hospital or something? Peter asked. Yes, but I don't want to visit him, I answered. Why? Peter asked. Do you know why he hasn't texted me? I asked. No, Peter answered. Because he said he would be too upset to text me, and that means he's probably too upset to visit me, for me to visit him with his mother in the hospital, I said. I see, said Peter. She is getting worse, and hopefully we will have access to that cure as soon as possible. How do you know she's getting worse? David asked. Because she fell while we were in New York City, and now 4 times since then. Ooh, David said. I'm sorry about that, Peter said. I probably shouldn't have told you that, or told you that sooner, I said. We won't say anything, said David. Right, said Peter. Good, I said. We then walked to a Wendy's and stopped for lunch, and at lunch we continued on for a conversation. So how are his brothers holding up? Peter asked. Sam is doing okay, not great. No, but George is not doing well because it was his birth that caused her mobility issues, I answered. Oh, poor thing, said David. Especially since he was crippled for a while, I said. I know, said David. He lost his vacation to that, I said. And in fact, no offense, he has bad grandparents, said Peter. I know that, there is no denying that, I said. You really are the best girlfriend ever by him sticking through this, said David. I know, I said. Now I know why a heterosexual relationship can be challenging, said Peter. We then all laughed, but really it was no challenge other than it was really just sad for me to see Marcus go through such a really sad time like this. I am glad he gave up his Dr. Marcacius persona in front of us, said David. He still practices it in front of his family and at school, I said. Still, at least we feel more respected by him now, said David. Did you like it? Do you feel like he disrespected you? I asked. No, but like how his behavior improved in front of us, said David. But we like how his improved in front of us, said David. I then jumped forward. His behavior is not improving, I said. How do you know this? Peter asked. He is actually going further and further off the deep end, I said. But how do you know this? Peter asked. Because he is losing his sanity, and I know it, I answered. How do you know he is losing his sanity? Peter asked. He is obsessed with something that I absolutely cannot tell you ever, I answered. Just then, my parents looked really concerned. Why? Peter asked. Because I said too much already and probably shouldn't have even told you that, I said. I see, said Peter. So why did you tell us it to begin with? David asked. I don't know, I said. Then I think you need to think things through better, said Peter. I will, I said. There was a pause as I was eating my Wendy's nuggets. How have you helped this family out before this, David asked. I actually have needed to comfort George a lot, I said. How, Peter asked. You know I have knowledge in psychology, I asked with a wide smile. Yes, Peter said. Yes, David said. Well, I have tried to talk things over with him, but I can see that he is having problems still, I said with a normal face. Like what, Peter asked. Emotional problems, I answered. Like what, David asked. Well, that's not your business, I answered. Like what, Peter asked. He has been crying non-stop over it, I answered. I see, Peter asked. George has emotional and sensory problems, I said, quite irritated, because I was just forced to answer to my parents, because he has autism. Isn't that like all for Robbins do, Peter asked. Yep, I answered. What do Marcus and Sam have, Peter asked. Marcus has social issues, but just the extent of being around superiors. Sam has behavioral issues, and that is why they each go to a different charter school around Chicago, I answered. I see, Peter answered. Why are you so interested in them, I asked. Because they are the family of my daughter's boyfriend, and it's important for us to know that stuff, Peter answered. That, said David, pointing at Peter. So what else do you want to know, I asked. What comic books is their dad working on? Because you have told us before he is an expert comic book artist, David answered and asked. Something Marvel? I don't know. You should probably go ask Marcus, I answered. Okay, said David. I am excited for him to go to Loyola, said Peter. Me too, I said. We know why, said David with a smile. I then giggled. Does he really want to find that cure for autism, Peter asked. Yes, I answered. He's told you that, David asked. Yes, I answered. Many times, Peter asked. Yes. Why does he hate having autism so much, David asked. Because it makes his life harder, I answered. Harder, Peter asked. Does having social anxiety make my life easier, I asked. No, Peter answered. Do you see why it makes it harder for him? I asked with obviousness in my voice. Yes, Peter answered. Yes, David answered. I rest my case, I said. I do feel even with that he is the right fit for you, Peter said. With that? I asked. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said myself. I should keep it to myself. I feel like it is a defect, Peter said. I think it is a defect that you brought up that it is a defect, I said angrily. Oops, Peter said. Hannah, are you doing okay, David asked. Yes, I answered. It's just you have concerned me ever since you got back from New York City, David said. I am fine, hiding what I need to tell Marcus from them, because I need to tell Marcus first. Are you sure, David asked? Yes, I answered. I then took a look at my phone again, and I still didn't get any messages from Marcus.